Hello, this is clip number 2 of session number 1, in which we are going to discuss different levels and different types of requirements. Now, there are so many different requirements and different types of requirements. We need to consider a consistent set of adjectives to modify this overloaded term requirement. So when you say requirement, there are different types of requirements like business requirement, business rules, constraints, external interface requirement, features, functional, non-functional requirements, quality attributes, system requirements, user requirements, and there are different multiple other types of requirements also. So I'm just going to discuss and explain meanings of all these basic types of requirements. So first is business requirement. Business requirement is a high-level business objective of the organization that builds a product or of a customer who purchases it or procures it. That is a business requirement. We'll get details of all these requirement types in details in further sessions, but this is the basic meaning. Second is business rule. What is a business rule? It is a policy, or it can be a guideline, standard, or regulation that defines or constrains some aspect of the business. That is a business rule. Not a software requirement in itself, but the origin of several types of software requirements is a business rule. Third is a constraint. Constraint basic meaning is restriction. So it is a restriction that is imposed on the choices available to the developer for the design and the construction of the product. That is a constraint. Then the next is external interface requirement. So it is a description, basically a description of a connection between a software system and a user or another software system or a hardware device. So between two different systems, basically, that is the meaning of external interface requirement. The next type is feature. Feature means it is one or more logically related system capabilities. Features are nothing but logically related system capabilities that provide value to a user and which are described by a set of functional requirements. Now, what is a functional requirement? Functional requirement is a description of a behavior that a system will exhibit under specific conditions. Under certain condition, how the system should behave. That is a functional requirement. Next is the non-functional requirement. It is a description of a property or characteristic that a system must exhibit or a constraint that it must respect. That is a non-functional requirement. Like certain tasks should be completed within 1 minute. Now this can be a non-functional requirement. It is assumed that certain specific tasks are completed in a stipulated time. That becomes a non-functional requirement. Or if I click on close button, automatically it should save the form. That is a non-functional requirement. Then comes quality attribute. It is a kind of non-functional requirement that describes service or performance characteristic of a product. That is a quality attribute. That's why the name is quality, characteristic of a product. Then the next type is system requirement. System requirement, as the name suggests, it is a top level requirement for a product that contains multiple subsystems, which could be all software or hardware, or software and hardware mix. That is a system requirement. And the last one is user requirement. A user requirement can be a goal or a task that specific classes of users must be able to perform with a system or a desired product attribute. That is a user requirement, directly coming from the user perspective. That is a user requirement. Now, software requirements include 3 distinct levels: business requirement, user requirements, and functional requirements. In addition, every system has few non-functional requirements also, but basically when we say software requirements, they include business, user, and functional requirements. These are the 3 levels. Now in this diagram, the ovals represents types of requirement information. The rectangles indicate documents in which the information will be stored. And the solid arrows indicates that a certain type of information typically is stored in the indicated document. So the business rules and system requirements are stored separately from software requirements, such as in a business rules catalog or a system requirement specification documents. The dotted arrows indicate that one type of information is the origin of or influences another type of requirement. That is the meaning of dotted arrow. So data requirements are not shown explicitly in this diagram. This is just to represent how the requirements are available in three distinct levels. Now functions manipulate data. We can say functions manipulate data. So data requirements can appear throughout all three levels. Now this diagram identifies three major requirement deliverables. First is a vision and a scope document. Second is a user requirement document. And third, a software requirement specification document, which is also known as SRS. Now you do not necessarily need to create three discrete requirements deliverables on each project. This is a standard, or you can say model, for creating the documents. It often makes sense to combine some of this information. So you can just go ahead with one SRS, which also includes user requirements. That is also possible. This generally happens in case of small projects. However, recognize that these three deliverables contain different information developed at different points in project, possibly by different people with different purpose and target audiences. So this diagram shows a simple top-down flow of requirement information. In reality, you should expect cycles and iterations among the business, user, and functional requirements, which will keep on happening to finalize the requirements. Now, whenever someone proposes a new feature or a user requirement or a bit of functionality, the analyst must ask, is this feature, is this scope, is part of the scope? If the answer is yes, if the requirement is part of the scope, if answer is yes, the requirement belongs in the specification. And if the answer is no, it does not, at least not for the forthcoming release or the iteration. The third possible answer to the question is the feature or the requirement part of the scope. The third possible answer is no, but it supports the business objective, so it can be considered. So currently it is not part of the scope, but it can be considered as it supports the business objective. In that case, whoever controls the project scope, the project sponsor, the project manager, or the project owner, they must decide whether to increase the current projects or iterations scope to accommodate the new requirement. That is their call. This is business decision that has implications for the project's schedule and budget, and might demand trade-offs with other capabilities also. That's why it is a management decision. An effective change process that includes impact analysis ensures that the right people make informed business decisions about which changes to accept, and that the associated cost in time, resources, feature trade-offs are addressed. Now, when we say three levels of requirements, business, user, and system requirements, business requirements describe why the organization is implementing the system, the business benefits the organization hopes to achieve. The focus is on business objectives of the organization or the customers who request the system. Suppose an airline wants to reduce airport counter staff, the cost of airport counter staff by 25%. Now, this goal might lead to the idea of building some kiosk that passengers can use to check in for their flights at the airport. Because if there is some automated system which passengers can use, using this automated system only you can reduce the staff and you can reduce the cost related to staff. So business requirements typically come from the funding sponsor for the project. the acquiring customer, the managers of the actual users, the marketing department, or the product visionary can also give these kind of business requirements. We like to record the business requirements in a vision and scope document. Other strategic guiding documents sometimes used for this purpose include a project charter, business case, a market requirement, or marketing requirements document. So all these things may contain different business requirements. Now the second level is user requirements. User requirements describe goals or tasks the user must be able to perform with the product that will provide value to someone. Now the domain of user requirements also include descriptions of product attributes or characteristics that are important to user satisfaction. Now, different ways to represent user requirements are there, which includes different types of use cases, user stories, event response tables, and different other documents. Ideally, the actual user representatives will provide this information through a document. User requirements describe what the user will be able to do with the system. An example of use case is, suppose, check-in for a flight. The task is check in for a flight using an airline's website or some kiosk at the airport. Now this can be written as a user story, and the same user requirement can be written as, for example, as a passenger, I want to check in for a flight so I can board my airplane. After checking, I can board my airplane. Now it's important to remember that most projects have multiple user classes, as well as other stakeholders whose needs also must be elicited. Now, some people use the broader term stakeholder requirements to acknowledge the reality that various stakeholders other than direct users will provide the requirements. Now, this is certainly true, but we focus the attention at this level on understanding what actual users need to achieve with the help of the product. That is user requirement. Now the third level is functional requirements. Now when we say functional requirements, it specifies the behavior of the product which will exhibit under specific conditions. Now they describe what the developers must implement to enable users to accomplish their tasks or user requirements, thereby satisfying the business requirements also. This alignment among three levels of requirements is essential for project success. So functional requirements often are written in the form of shall statements, traditional shall statements. For example, I can write a statement like, the passenger shall be able to print boarding passes for all flight flight segments for which the passenger has checked in. Or I can also say, if the passenger's profile does not indicate a seating preference, the reservation system shall assign a seat. So these becomes functional requirements. Now, as a business analyst, the business analyst documents functional requirements in a software requirement specification document, which is SRS. SRS, software requirement specification, which describes as fully as necessary the expected behavior of the software system. So the SRS is used in development, testing, quality assurance, project management, and related other project functions. People call this deliverable by many different names, including business requirements documents. Some may call this as functional specification document, a requirement document, or some other names are there for SRS. An SRS could be a report generated from information stored in the requirement management tool. So now we'll talk about system requirements, the third level. System requirement describe the requirements for a product that is composed of multiple components or subsystems. So what is the meaning of the word system? A system in this scene or in this case is not just any information system. A system can be all software, or it can be, or it can include both software and hardware subsystems, combinations, everything. People and processes are part of the system. So certain system functions might be allocated to human beings also. A good example of a system is the, for example, cashier's workstation in the supermarket, in any big bazaar or any other supermarket. Now, if you look at the cashier's workstation, there is a barcode scanner integrated with a scale, as well as a handheld barcode scanner is there as a device to scan the products. The cashier also has a keyboard, a display, a cash drawer which opens after specific tasks, and you will see a card reader also if you are making payment using cards. And for that card reader, you will also see a pin pad where you can enter the pin numbers. So you might see up to 3 different printers also for purchase receipt, credit card receipt, and coupons, to print the coupons. Somewhere you may find all these things getting printed on single printer, or there may be different printers available. Now all these things, these hardware devices, all are interacting under a software control. So the requirements for the system or a product as a whole lead the business analyst to derive specific functionality that must be allowed or allocated to one or another of the components of subsystems. So this becomes, or this is a very good example of a system. So we need to understand different interfaces and how those interfaces are working with each other. So that becomes part of system requirement. Now we'll talk about business rules and quality attributes. Now when we say business rules, they include corporate policies, government regulations, industry standards, or even some kind of specific computational algorithms which are specific to that domain or that product. All becomes part of business rule. Business rules are not a kind of software requirements because they have an existence beyond the boundaries of any specific software application. However, they often dictate that the system must contain functionality to comply with the rules, business rules. And next is quality attribute. Quality attributes are also known as quality factors or quality of service requirements or constraints. Now they describe the product's characteristics in various dimensions that are important either to user or to developers and maintainers also, such as performance, safety, availability, and portability. These can be quality attributes. Other classes of non-functional requirements describe external interfaces between the system and outside world. Now these include connections to the other software systems, hardware components, and the users, as well as communication interfaces. Design and implementation constraints impose restrictions on the options available to the developer during construction of the product. So all these things comes under quality attributes. Now what is the meaning of feature? A feature consists of one or more logically related system capabilities. Feature is logically related system capabilities that provide value to a user and are described by a set of functional requirements. That is a feature. Now, a customer's list of desired product features is not equivalent to a description of users' task-related needs. We need to understand this. So, web browser bookmarks. We can take example of web browser bookmarks. Web browser bookmarks, spelling checkers. The ability to define a custom workout program for a piece of exercise equipment or automatic virus signature updating in an anti-malware product. All these are examples of features. A feature can be of multiple types. Multiple user requirements can define a feature, each of which implies that certain functional requirements must be implemented to allow the user to perform the task described by user requirement. So the diagram which is given on this slide, this illustrates a feature tree. This diagram type is called as feature tree. In this feature tree, an analysis model that shows how a feature can be hierarchically decomposed into a set of smaller features which relate to specific user requirements and lead to specifying set of functional requirements also. Now this diagram illustrates how various stakeholders might participate in eliciting the three levels of requirements which we have discussed. Different organizations use a variety of names for the roles involved in these activities. Think about who performs these activities in your organization. So if you can start thinking from that perspective, you will understand this diagram. The role names often differ depending on whether the developing organization is an internal corporate entity or it is a company building software for commercial use. So it depends on that what terminologies you are going to use. Based on an identified business need, a market need, or an exciting new product concept, managers or marketing teams can define the business requirements for software that will help their company operate more efficiently, at least for information systems. Or they can also compete successfully in the marketplace for commercial products. In the corporate environment, a business analyst then typically works with user representatives to identify the user requirements. Companies developing commercial products often identify a product manager to determine what features to include in the new product. So product manager gives the list of features. Each user requirement and feature must align with accomplishing the business requirement. From the user requirements, the business analyst or the product manager derives the functionality that will let users achieve their goals. Developers use the functional and non-functional requirements to design solutions that implement the necessary functionality within the limits that the constraints impose. Now, the last is the testing team. The testers determine how to verify whether the requirements were correctly implemented or not. So that becomes the last level. So these are the different levels, and we have discussed these three levels like business requirements, user requirements, and functional requirements from corporate roles and commercial roles, from business need perspective and from the marketing need perspective. That is the end of second clip of session 1, where we have discussed how different stakeholders participate in requirements development phase.